Oh boy, this is gonna be awkward. So, Death is in love with Denji, or Chainsaw Man? That's right. Our lovable, hollowed out elbow dork is in reality in love with Denji, and I'm gonna prove it to you. Well, not me. This is a theory created by Adorabird, the author behind such webtoons as The Raven Black Court, and of course, the upcoming La Tarantulavspa. I think is how you pronounce it. I'm illiterate. All credit goes to him for this theory, and links will be in the description to all of his links to all of his cool stuff. So this theory really starts off with something that not many people have noticed at all, and it sure as heck wasn't something that I noticed until it was brought up to me, obviously. But out of every single interaction between Death and Denji, there are a handful of interesting observations to be had which just they don't make sense. How? Well, let's see how. In all of the time that Death has been in the series and out of every single one of her interactions with Denji, don't you find it a bit peculiar that Death has never spoken to Denji directly? Not even once. In fact, what's most odd when you consider this fact is that Death really has no issue speaking with Asa, Yoru, Yoshida, Fumiko. Really, it's only with Denji that she remains completely silent. This fact is odd enough because one of Fujimoto's main strengths is how he is able to write interactions between characters and make them both humorous and realistic while also showcasing his characters' personalities in a way that keeps them all fresh and, most importantly, unique. Not many characters, if any, can be compared to any other. They could have some aspects about them that are comparable, but all of them can and do stand on their own, except for Aging, who needs a chair made out of humans because he can't stand. But that's neither here nor there. So I got super invested and I went back to try and find every time Death and Denji were in the same scene together. And what I found was just as surprising as the currently aforementioned. Denji also has never spoken directly to Death as well. Odd, right? And if you're somehow still on the fence and don't see this as anything big, well, let me break it down into a list of bullet points why this is intentionally very weird and very out of place. For one, Death is the sister of war, control, and famine. Why is it that out of the horsemen who've been in Denji's presence, Death, arguably the most important of the four, hasn't spoken to Denji and vice versa, and we're not even going to count Fami, obviously. On top of that, it thematically does make sense. Makima was infatuated with Pochita, Nayuta loved Denji as a father, and Yoru sees Denji as a pet and is in love with him because she shares the same brain as Asamitaka. Fun name to say, because she likes him. It's just strange that the arguably most important of primal fears just hasn't talked to Denji at all. Like, nothing. And they were sitting right next to each other in some of these scenes as well. Odd! Very odd. Peculiar, even. So what could any of this possibly mean? Well, there are plenty of possible interpretations, but the main one for this video is that Death is in love with Denji, and while it is unclear at the moment, Death actually might have a crush on him, silently observing him when nearby. And the reason for this crush really has to do with the concepts of both Chainsaw Man and Death. For one, Denji and Pochita share similarities with Death. Pochita can erase concepts and devils by eating them, and Death is the embodiment of Death itself. She is the same concept of Chainsaw Man, but for humans and vice versa. We can see this in chapter 199, where Death described why she eats humans. She does it to savor them, and by eating them and killing them, she can control any human. Now, we'll take that last part and kind of push it to the side for now, as it doesn't have much to do with Pochita and or Chainsaw Man's powers. We're simply focusing on the concept of death and rebirth here. On top of that, there is a visual aspect to this that supports this theory. Have you noticed that Death's earrings resemble that of Chainsaw Man's starter cord, which is connected to, where? Well, but of course, to Denji's heart, aka Pochita's heart. Death, silently observing Denji from a distance, probably wants to look like her crush, so this could also be explained simply by the fact that Death and Pochita have these starter chords, as there is a relationship between the concept of Death and the concept of Pochita's erasure thing. After all, if both of these people are the embodiment of death of their own respective species, why not have the same visual representation of the starter chord? All right. So let's take what we have so far, the components of this theory, and start putting them together, like a delicious Thanksgiving ham sandwich. So what is the connection here? Well, I think some of this gets into the origins of devils themselves, namely Pochita's origins. Pochita could in essence be an extension or weapon of the Death Horseman. Now imagine this. At some point, however long ago this was, devils were less niche, and suddenly a sort of big bang happened, like in our universe. It occurred, and basically everything sort of spread out. There was an explosion in devils as the human population grew, which in theory necessitated the separation and watering down of devils wholesale. Maybe in the beginning there was only like the life and the death devil, and from that more devils were birthed, and thus different variations of death exist out there. One for humans and one for devils. This could explain Death's attraction to Denji and Pochita, because Death might just admire or even fear Denji and Pochita because they are the only people in existence that can truly kill concepts, and thus devils. And when you consider that, it may be entirely possible that Pochita could erase primal fears along with even the Horsemen. Now, get this. This is where things get even weirder. Unlike Yoru, who can only destroy, seeing as she is the embodiment of war itself, Denji and Pochita represent a deeper form of erasure. What I mean by this is what I said, well, moments ago. What if there was an age of fewer devils, and these devils from those primordial years are essentially just the primal devils? It's not that they are the strongest inherently, it is that their concepts represent, in truth, instinctual fears. And Pochita is the missing fear. Pochita is the devil everyone fears because of this theory, the sixth sense. Denji would have the heart of the most feared devil of all, the Grim Reaper for the Grim Reapers. So, if we are to take all of that into account, and it's a lot, Death may be drawn to Denji from a distance because he and Pochita embody a force that even Death itself has to acknowledge, or should I say, fear. And really that is why Death would love Denji in Chainsaw Man. I mean, how can you as a devil not admire someone or even be attracted to the only thing that will kill you? And the smoking gun to tie all of this together goes back to the reveal of the Death Devil. Death literally says, "I disposed all of my organs and I still couldn't elbow." Directly after Famine told her to just die, as if to say, "Don't worry sis, I tried to kill myself. It didn't elbow." And while it's hidden in subcontext, just why would Death try to kill herself, and why does she seem so despondent? Why does she value human culture over her own? Well, because death is emptiness. Death doesn't feel like anything. It leaves you hollow. It rots you inside out. But in life, what is something that can revive any man or woman? What is the one thing as a human that we can feel that could erase or dull the sharpest and most intense feelings or emptiness? It's love. Love is the only thing in the world that can really heal a human soul, because love is what keeps the world turning. It's why we have all of this culture. It's because we love other people and we want them to be happy, so we make things that make other people happy. Love is what keeps the human race alive. Love is hope. It's not just sex, not just hot men or women or gotcha babes and guys stuff. I'm talking about the feelings that go beyond just physical attraction and ooga booga boobs. The feeling that when you wake up, the person next to you sleeping has your back and is here to help you tackle life together. Love is one of the most intense emotions that can make a person feel whole again. And seeing as death is literally empty and quite literally looking for happiness through human culture, you could say that death is in love with Denji and Pochita, as they are the only people left, along with Asamitaka and her friends, that can feel the void inside her tummy. Well, her non-existent tummy at this point. If you haven't, subscribe and join our Discord, as we're trying to get 10,000 subscribers before or on the day that chapter 200 is released. Thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you for the next Chainsaw Man video.